Hey, welcome back to Karen's Papercraft. Today I'm going to show you the second card in my series of cards for men, and it's this one with a lighthouse. I really like it. It's the Hight stamp set, and it contains loads of beautiful stamps. There is a lighthouse, which it's a two-step stamping method, so you stamp one and then the other. There's seawater, there is some sand, you've got these lovely birds, you've got these seagulls, you've got seagrass, I suppose it's called. Lots of options. It's a photopolymer stamp set, so it makes the stamping easy. And you can see, oh well, I dropped it before I started filming, so they fell off. And you can see I've used, and of course if you use photopolymer stamps they will stain, especially when you use colours which have lots of pigment like the red, but it doesn't really matter because they will work. The staining is just there. It shows you that you have really used your stamps. I wanted the lighthouse to stick out, so I thought I'd make a card with this sort of column, and I think it looks cute. I'm going to show you how I cut and scored the card. I've taken a piece of A4 cardstock which I cut down the middle, and so this comes down to 4 1/8. Am I saying this right? Yes, it's 10.5 centimeters, and don't worry because all the measurements are on my blog. I'm going in centimeters and inches. I'm going to score this at 3/8 of an inch, and then at 2 1/8 of an inch, at 3 7/8 of an inch, and 5 5/8 of an inch. And now, if you really want to make life easier on yourself, it is better to put all your decorated mats down before you start scoring, and this one will go on the back. I'll show you in a minute when I am going to stick the card together. First of all, what you're going to need is some tear and tape. This will be the glue flap. First let me fold and burnish my score lines. That's a better idea, Karen. Right. And lastly, my glue flap. If I hadn't done that, I would have stuck the tear and tape on the wrong side of my paper. So it's good I remembered. Right, then let me get rid of my trash bin. I keep the teeniest, it's an old Tupperware box. Can I advertise this? Well, I am advertising this, which I keep for scraps on my desk. Then attach tear and tape. Make sure it sticks down well, and then all you have to do in a minute is stick the card together like this. Now, to make for a neat finish, it's always good to wedge these sides, and as I said, it's easier to stick down your mats before you do any sticking down of the card as such. And so my lighthouses will go on like this, and then one on the back, and all you have to do is, because I chose the blueberry bushel cardstock, is to add one more piece. This is slightly too big. I'm going to cut it down in a minute. I thought it was the right size, but as you see, I have to take a sliver off there, and there you can write a message for the person who has a birthday or has to celebrate anything. Okay, so I'm going to stick down my panels. So I'm going to use this for the back of my card. If you are wondering why I put down some snail first, I personally find it works easier if you do it like that, because with the Tombow, my card can move around a bit until I think the placing is right, and then in the middle I press down on the snail, and then when I push down on my cardstock it won't slither around anymore, and I've noticed that sometimes it does this. Now all you have to do then is fold your card like this. Where's my paper piercer? Remove the backing from the tear and tape, and then you fold down your card to the right, and there you have a lighthouse that sticks out. Then all I have to do now is attach this panel and my card is ready. So let me just do that. See, some snail in the middle, Tombow. This is, yep, right, this is the top. My bottle is nearly empty. That's why I always put it on its head in an old bit of glass. And again, I can move my mat around a bit until I'm happy, push down from the middle, and my panel is attached. And by the way, I don't know if the camera picks this up, but I stamped these seagulls in Versamark, and then I used white embossing powder. It makes for a lovely white look of the seagulls, and the recipient can stand his card like that, and from the back there's one more lighthouse. I think this really looks cute. When I was making the card and thinking up the card, I thought about using the A4, the international A4 paper, and as I just showed you, this is big enough to be able to make a card. Now if I had used the American letter-sized paper, it has a different size. This is a tiny fragment, but you see on the right, because the paper is shorter and wider, about, not much, but it is quite a bit shorter. Then if I had used the same method, I would have ended up with a card on the right which is, well, quite a bit shorter, and I didn't think that it would look good for the seascape there. So I worked around this. And what you do then is, this here you have the in an old scrap of paper, you see. Now it's the same size from the right, and from the top I've cut it down to the same size as well. So the measurements for the mats will work out the same now if you use the American A4 paper. What I did is I cut two pieces measuring, let me get my notes, of 4 1/4 by 6 1/8 of an inch, and you take one of those pieces, whoops, let me get my scoreboard back in, and then you do the following scoring. You score at 3/8 of an inch. Am I in the picture? Well, nearly, sorry about that. 3/8 of an inch. You score at 2 1/8, you score at 3 7/8 of an inch, and you score at 5 5/8. And now I've created two glue flaps there. again, some folding and burnishing. And you put tear and tape on both ends. Right, my tear and tape had gone AWOL. Alright, put it down. And again, make sure that it here as well. Notch, or wedge, whichever you prefer. Cut a bit off would help as well. Oops, this sticks now. Okay, there's another piece that's shot away somewhere. Now you take the other piece of cardstock. If only I could find it. Where did I put it? Oh golly, I threw it away even. Not a good idea. And you're going to adhere both pieces together. So I'll take away a piece of the backing, and again here, and I'm going to put the top and the bottom where I want them. Yes, push down on the top and the bottom, and then only then do I remove the rest of the backing. And then you have a beautifully fitting card. And then, as I showed you before, you stick on your panels, and then same procedure. I'm not going to do that because I'm going to use this card later and make some more panels, but fold the card like that, remove the backing, and then fold it closed, and you have another card. So what I did was in fact create, can you see, 2 glue flaps, whereas in the international A4 only one glue flap is necessary. Can you see it? There. See, there's no one there, but it doesn't really show on the card. If I show you, well, you can see an edge there, but that wouldn't bother anyone, I suppose. I'm going to show you the finished card once again. Now, I chose the lighthouse from this beautiful stamp set here, but of course decorations, many options are possible, and you could also change the sizes. Now, if you use the international A4 and you don't want the 2 lashes there, 2 glue flaps I should say, then you're limited to this size. But if you use the American method, which I developed, so where you stick this column on with 2 glue flaps, you wouldn't be limited by size anyway. You could have a much larger card even if you wanted to, if what you wanted to stamp was be a bit bigger. Well, thank you very much for watching. Bye bye.